Welcome to our deep dive into clean code. We've got this great article you shared, The Power of Clean Code, Best Practices for Effective Programming. So much good stuff in here. But let's start with the basics. What is clean code?
Well, imagine, like a software glitch that causes a satellite to malfunction,
Oh, wow.
leading to a communication blackout across a continent.
That's scary.
Yeah. And it turns out the root cause was just a piece of code that was so jumbled, nobody could understand it in time to, fix the issue. That's kind of the opposite of clean code. The article really stresses clean code is more than just, getting it to work. It's about writing code that anyone can read and understand and maintain so you can prevent that kind of disaster.
So it's not just about aesthetics, it's really about reliability.
Exactly. And the benefits go way beyond just, avoiding disasters, right?
Okay.
Think about the last time you collaborated on a project. Did you ever, have to spend hours deciphering someone else's messy code?
Oh, yeah. All the time.
Clean code makes collaboration so much smoother because everyone can understand what's happening. It's also, way easier to debug.
So less time debugging, more time building awesome things. I
Exactly.
love that. Now, the article mentions some best practices for clean code. Can you walk us through some of the highlights?
Absolutely. So first up, let's talk about meaningful names. So instead of using a generic variable like D to represent the elapsed time, why not use, something like elapsed time in days?
Yeah, that's so much clearer.
Right. Instantly, it's clear. It's
Yeah.
the difference between a cryptic treasure map
Right.
and a GPS with turn-by-turn directions. And then just like a well-structured GPS route, clean code likes to break down those complex tasks into smaller, more manageable chunks, right?
Okay.
So the article uses this example of a function, process user data.
Okay.
Instead of cramming everything into this one giant function, you can break it down into smaller functions like validate user data,
Yeah.
save user to database, and send welcome email.
Okay. So it's like dividing a novel into chapters. Much easier to digest.
Exactly.
This reminds me of something else the article talks about. Self-documenting code. What is
Yeah.
that?
So it's the idea that well-written code should be so clear, it practically explains itself.
Oh, interesting.
So instead of this, cryptic function named f to check if a number is even, you call it is even,
Okay.
right?
Mhm.
The name and structure make the purpose instantly clear. You don't need as many comments.
So the code is basically speaking for itself.
Exactly. And that's really helpful when you're revisiting your own code, months later,
Right.
or when others are trying to understand your work. But even the best developers can benefit from some tools and techniques to help them write cleaner code.
Oh, for sure.
The article talks about some of those too. Ready to explore a few.
Absolutely. What kind of tools and techniques are we talking?
Well, think about it. Even the most meticulous chefs rely on certain tools in the kitchen, right?
Mm.
In the world of clean code, one of the most valuable tools is a linter.
Okay.
Imagine a helpful friend gently nudging you when your code gets a little messy.
Yeah, I could use one of those.
Right. That's a linter. They analyze your code and can flag any potential errors or style violations before they become major problems.
So kind of like a spell checker for code.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then just like a good editor can, refine your writing, code reviews are essential for maintaining quality.
Oh, yeah.
Another developer can spot things that maybe you missed
Mhm.
and offer feedback. It's a win-win for everyone.
For sure. Now, the article also mentions this thing called continuous integration,
CI.
CI.
Yeah.
What role does that play in the world of clean code?
Imagine you're building a skyscraper. Would you wait till the very end to check if the foundation was solid?
No way.
Of course not. You would inspect it regularly, throughout the process. That's the essence of CI. It just automates testing and checks every time you change your code.
Oh.
Make sure that you're building on that solid foundation.
So a built-in quality control system. Nice.
Exactly.
Okay. The article also talks about the impact of clean code. What are some of the key takeaways in that area?
Let's go back to that skyscraper analogy.
Mhm.
Imagine trying to add a new floor to a, poorly constructed building. It would probably just crumble, right?
Right.
Same applies to code. Clean code makes it easier to maintain and scale your projects because you're starting with that solid foundation.
So it's not just about the present. You're setting yourself up for future success.
Exactly. And then clean code also has a big impact on collaboration. Remember that project where you were struggling to understand someone else's code?
Oh, yeah.
Clean code solves that problem, It fosters a shared language among developers and leads to better communication, and more teamwork.
It's like a universal language that everyone can speak.
Exactly. And that brings us to a really crucial point. Clean code isn't just about, aesthetics or following rigid rules. It's really about respecting your craft.
Mhm.
You're creating code that is not only functional, but also a joy to work with.
So it's where functionality meets elegance.
Exactly.
Before we move on, I'm curious. Thinking about everything we've talked about so far, what aspect of clean code stands out to you the most?
What piques your interest
Hmm.
or makes you think differently about your own coding?
And we'd love to hear your thoughts. And stay tuned. We'll be diving into even more clean code principles and best practices.
Welcome back to our deep dive into clean code.
It's fascinating how much cleaner code can just improve a programmer's life, from
Yeah.
preventing those catastrophic bugs
Right.
to just smoother collaboration.
Absolutely. And before the break, you, the listener, shared some great insights about what resonated with you.
Yeah.
A lot of you are really drawn to this idea of making code more readable and maintainable.
Yeah, who wouldn't want to transform their code base from this tangled mess into a well-structured masterpiece, right?
Exactly. And to continue building that masterpiece, let's explore a few more uh, best practices that are highlighted in the article, The Power of Clean Code.
Okay, I'm ready for more clean code wisdom. What's next?
Let's talk about the DRY principle.
Oh.
Don't repeat yourself.
Oh yeah, DRY, I've heard of that. It's all about efficiency, right?
Exactly. The article really emphasizes avoiding code duplication, like as much as possible.
Okay.
So instead of copy-pasting the same code block over and over, extract that functionality into, reusable functions or classes.
Oh, so it's like having a master template that you can adapt
That's
instead of recreating the wheel every time.
Precisely. And this not only makes your code base smaller or more manageable,
Right.
but it also reduces the risk of errors. Because if you need to make a change, you only have to do it in one spot.
Makes sense. The article also mentions clarity, especially when it comes to using constants.
That's right.
Yeah.
Imagine you're, working on a financial application, and you see this number 18
Okay.
scattered throughout the code. Is it the minimum age for an account?
Oh.
Is it the interest rate?
Who knows?
Who knows, right? So instead of leaving everyone guessing, define a constant, something like minimum age for account, and set it to 18.
Ah, so you're giving meaning to those magic numbers?
Exactly. It's like labeling your spice jars instead of having, a
Hmm.
bunch of unidentifiable powders in your pantry. Speaking of potential messes, let's talk about errors.
Uh-oh. Everyone's favorite topic, right?
Right. But avoiding them is certainly a key part of clean code.
For sure.
The article really stresses the importance of handling errors, gracefully.
Uh-huh.
Think of it as having a contingency plan for when things go wrong. Because, let's face it, sometimes they do.
Right, of course.
So you're not just letting the program crash.
Yeah.
You're catching those errors and providing helpful information about what went wrong.
Right, okay. So you're using things like try-catch blocks. Exactly.
Catch those exceptions
I just...
and then give those meaningful error messages to help with the debugging.
Precisely.
Now, speaking of clarity and helpful guides, what's the article's take on comments in code?
It definitely advocates for, self-documenting code. Like code so clear
Right.
and well-structured, it explains itself.
Yeah.
But it also acknowledges that sometimes comments are necessary.
Okay, so it's all about striking that balance.
Exactly.
Totally.
And when you do use comments, make sure they're adding value, like, explaining the why behind the code
Yeah.
or highlighting potential pitfalls. Don't just rehash what the code is doing.
Right. It's like those insightful margin notes in a book that add context and understanding.
Exactly.
Not just repeating what's on the page.
Okay, cool. And here's another essential ingredient for clean code. Consistent naming conventions.
Oh, consistency. That's like the cornerstone of so many things.
Yeah.
From good design to communication. Absolutely. So whether you choose camel case, snake case, or whatever, just stick with it throughout your project.
Okay.
That consistency makes your code way more predictable
Right.
and readable.
It's like having a style guide for your code. Everyone knows the rules, they follow them, and then it's just easier to navigate.
Exactly. And to avoid getting lost in a maze of code, let's talk about the article's advice on avoiding deep nesting.
Oh, nesting. Those layers upon layers of if statements and loops,
Exactly. Deeply nested code is just so hard to read
Mhm.
and follow. It's like trying to navigate a city with a map that's folded in on itself multiple times.
Right. So how do we avoid creating these code labyrinths?
The article suggests using early returns or guard clauses to just simplify that conditional logic.
Oh, okay.
You can also extract complex conditions into separate functions to, break things down into smaller pieces.
Oh, so it's about like flattening the structure and making the logic more linear.
Exactly. So instead of this tangled web of nested
Yeah.
conditions, you have a clear path that's easy to follow and understand.
It's amazing how those like seemingly small details can have such a big impact on, readability and maintainability.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And as we've seen through this whole deep dive, clean code isn't just about following these rules. It's about a philosophy of craftsmanship.
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
taking pride in your work
Right.
and striving for that excellence in every single line of code.
It's not just about making it look pretty. It's about making it robust, reliable, and easy to work with for
Exactly.
yourself and for others.
And speaking of working with others, the article highlights a concept that's especially relevant to teams, refactoring.
Refactoring. That's a word I've heard, but I don't know if I fully
Yeah.
grasp what it means. Can you elaborate on that?
Think of it like renovating a house.
Okay.
You're not adding any new rooms, but you're improving the existing space,
Right.
making it more functional, efficient, maybe more aesthetically pleasing.
So you're giving your code a makeover?
Exactly. You're not changing what it does, but you're making it better under the hood.
Yeah, I like that.
And the beauty of refactoring is you can do it incrementally.
Oh, okay.
Small improvements,
Right.
gradually transforming your code base into this uh, more streamlined, elegant masterpiece.
That makes it way less daunting than like overhauling a whole code base at once.
Exactly. And the article emphasizes that refactoring is an ongoing process.
Yeah.
It's not something you do once and then forget about it. As you continue to work on your code,
Right.
you're going to inevitably find areas that can be, improved or simplified.
So it's a continuous journey of improvement.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Always striving to make your code the best that it can be.
And the best part is, as you get better at writing clean code, you probably have to refactor less, right?
Exactly.
Because your initial code is just cleaner from the start.
Your initial code will be cleaner, more maintainable.
Yeah, that's the goal, to just write clean code naturally.
Exactly. It becomes like second nature, a habit that just elevates the quality of all your work.
Like a master chef who just knows how to, make a delicious and beautifully presented meal.
Exactly.
That's awesome. I think it's important to note that clean code is not just about following these rules. It's about embracing this mindset, a philosophy of craftsmanship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's about taking pride in your work and recognizing that code is not just something that, gets the job done.
Right.
It's a form of expression, a craft that deserves to be treated with care and attention.
It's like the difference between like hastily scribbling a note
Yeah.
and taking the time to write a beautiful letter. Both convey the message, but one shows more thoughtfulness and artistry.
Absolutely. And that brings us to the heart of what makes clean code so powerful.
Mm.
It's not just about, making it easy to read or maintain, although those are really important benefits. It's about something like deeper, more profound.
Ooh, I like that. Tell me more about this deeper meaning of clean code.
Clean code is about respect. Respect for yourself, respect for your craft, and respect for those who will, interact with your code in the future.
Yeah. So you're leaving a legacy of well-crafted code for future generations of developers to appreciate.
Exactly. You're creating something that's not only functional, but also elegant. Something that reflects your passion for programming and your commitment to excellence.
Wow, that's a really powerful way to think about it. So as we start to wrap up this deep dive into clean code, I want to challenge you, the listener, to think about how you can embrace this philosophy of clean code in your own work.
How can you elevate your craft and create code that's not only functional but beautiful and maintainable and a joy to work with?
Remember, writing clean code is an investment in yourself, your team, and the future of your projects.
It's a journey worth taking, one that will reward you with more satisfaction, more productivity, and more impact.
And, who knows, maybe you'll even inspire others to join you on this quest for cleaner, more elegant code.
On that note, we'll leave you with this final thought. Clean code is not just a set of rules. It's a mindset. Embrace the principles, refine your skills, and elevate your craft.
Happy coding, everyone. Welcome back. It's amazing how much we've uncovered about clean code, from those practical benefits to the deeper meaning, like a philosophy of craftsmanship.
It's been quite a journey. And before we wrap up, let's delve into one more concept the article highlights. This can really solidify your clean code practices. Refactoring.
Refactoring. That sounds kind of like a remodeling a house, but for code. What exactly does it entail?
You're exactly right. Imagine you have this perfectly functional kitchen, but the layout's a bit awkward. The cabinets are cluttered, appliances are outdated. You wouldn't just tear down the whole kitchen and start from scratch, would you?
No, of course not. You'd renovate and reorganize to make it more efficient.
Precisely. Refactoring is just the process of restructuring your existing code,
Yeah.
right? To improve its readability, maintainability,
Mm.
overall quality, but without changing its functionality.
So it's like giving your code a spa day, just a chance to like relax, rejuvenate, and come out looking and feeling its best.
I love that analogy. That's a great way to put it. And just like a spa treatment, refactoring can be done in stages. You don't have to tackle everything at once.
Right.
You
Yeah.
can start with these small, targeted improvements,
Yeah.
gradually transforming your code base
Yeah.
into this more streamlined and elegant masterpiece.
Now, the article mentions that refactoring is an ongoing process, right? It's not something you just do once and forget about. So what are some like real world scenarios where refactoring might come in handy?
Let's say you've inherited this legacy code base that's, riddled with these deeply nested conditional statements.
Yeah. Those are the worst.
Right, makes it so hard to follow the logic.
Yeah.
Refactoring could involve, simplifying those conditions using guard clauses or extracting them into separate functions.
So you're not changing what the code does, you're just making it easier to understand and maintain. What about situations where you need to add like new features to an existing code base?
That's another prime opportunity for refactoring.
Right.
Before you start adding that new code, take you a look at the existing structure. See if there are any areas that could be reorganized or simplified to just accommodate the new functionality better.
It's like preparing the soil before planting a new tree. You want to make sure the roots have room to grow.
Exactly. And as you become more comfortable with these clean code principles, you'll just naturally write cleaner code from the start, right? You won't need as much refactoring down the line.
It becomes second nature.
Exactly.
It's like mastering any skill. The more you practice, the
Yeah.
more effortless it becomes.
And the benefits of that mastery extend far beyond just, making your code look pretty. Remember, clean code is about respect.
Respect for yourself, respect for the craft, and respect for those who will interact with your code in the future.
Exactly. It's about leaving behind a legacy of well-crafted, maintainable code that others can understand and build upon. Clean code is a gift, not just to your future self, but to the entire, development community.
That's a really beautiful way to put it. So as we conclude this deep dive into the world of clean code, I want to leave you, the listener, with a final challenge.
Think about one small action you can take today to start applying these principles to your own work.
Maybe it's, choosing more descriptive variable names. Maybe it's breaking down a complex function or adding a linter to your workflow. Every step, no matter how small,
Yeah.
it just brings you closer to mastering this art of clean code.
Remember, clean code is not just a destination. It's a journey of continuous improvement. Embrace the principles, refine your skills, and elevate your craft.
Happy coding, everyone.